hands full by himself. Hey, I'm headed to Tennessee River striper fishing. Gonna hook up with my buddy Bo Rice and we're gonna catch some Tennessee stripers, man. It's gonna be an awesome show today. I'm excited, man. There's times I really get pumped up. Today I'm pumped, so you stay with me. I'm Hank Parker. We come up here in the summertime and catch 10-pound, 15-pound stripers. Bo and Bucky come up here in March, April, and May and catch 30 and 40. And he's got a 62-pounder. We'll show you that tonight. He's got a replica of it on his wall at the house. 62 pounds. That's a big old striper.
Estimated to be at least 25 years old.
At least 20. You know, that's what they said about me. Breakfast of Champions. Hey, let me tell you what we got going on today. We're in Tennessee, fishing the Tennessee River. I'm fishing with my buddy Bo Rice. Bo is an awesome, awesome striper guide. You see that big 62-pounder they caught here. They catch some giant fish. Usually don't catch big fish this time of year. It's usually early. You think we can catch them on artificial at all?
You want to try it real quick?
Yeah. But I came up here to fish with a Berkley Surge, which got Suggs designed, just an awesome striper bait. And so I got here last night, and Bo says that's not happening. He's got a really good friend, Bucky Montz, and Bucky has been fishing the river trying to find these fish, and they're just not happening. So I talked to Bucky, and he said, well, I'm gonna tell you what's happening. We're gonna fish in some really, really, really swift current. If you hook a bait up and have to break it off, it takes forever to retie. He said, I'll just come and be your first mate. I said, you can come and fish. He said, no, I don't care nothing about fishing. I want to come and be your first mate. I just love to be a part of it. So we're gonna hook up this morning. I'm going fishing with Bo Rice and Bucky Montz.
There was one at your 11 o'clock.
On the Tennessee River. Going to try to catch them on artificial. We may end up catching them on live bait, but I'm gonna hang around here for about a day and a half, and we're gonna see if we can't figure out how to catch them on artificial.
We're gonna take you up here to the hole first.
Okay. So it's gonna be a crazy show. We're gonna be fishing some wild current. It's gonna be wild from what I understand. That was a yellow striper. What you want me to do?
Let's try it again.
Okay.
We'll switch weapon. All right, Hank, when we pull up there, you're gonna throw at 11 o'clock towards the dam where the water's making a backdraft.
What if you can't tell time?
Well, you're gonna throw to your left.
Okay.
Towards the concrete.
Oh.
All right, then we're gonna let the current bring the bait.
Down in that little eddy spot.
Down in that little eddy. If you don't get hit, we're gonna blame Bucky for it.
Bucky Moss, it's your fault.
Yes, sir. Fish on. What you got, Hank?
I got a bass fish, a striped bass. He's a nice one. They get in that current, they pull really hard. He is a very nice one.
Oh, yes, sir.
He is a very nice one. Look how very nice he is.
Wow.
That is a very nice one. I like that one. He's a very, very nice one.
Hank, you got any needle nose?
I do have. I went there with the full intent of using this surge shad. This thing is the most awesome, and you're gonna have to take my word for it because I wasn't able to show you. But Scott Suggs worked with Berkley, and that's what I love about Berkley. They work so close together to get all these baits perfect. And Scott fished Lake Ouachita a lot, caught a lot of good stripers. He learned how to make that thing weight just perfect. And it is the most deadly striper, topwater waking bait I've ever used. So I was so excited about going and doing that, but those fish were so jammed up in that current and nowhere else. And there was certain places you just could not make even a power swimmer in all that blowing current look right. So you almost needed a bait that would propel itself like a live bait. And what I did is I just took some Berkley 5X braid, and I love this. If you've not tried this braid, you need to try it. It's called X5, and it's a smoother braid. It's so smooth. When those fish pull the drag, I like it. It's almost as smooth as fluorocarbon or mono. Man, it comes off really, really good. And those fish are gonna pull your drag. Hook's too little.
Is that the problem? Here, let me put some good juice on it. Guaranteed to catch now, just by touching it, Hank.
I got some 5X Berkley braid, some trilene fluorocarbon, and a split shot and a circle hook.
A number 2 Kale hook.
Kale?
Yeah, you know, the old hooks, the old guys used to use flounder fishing. My grandpa introduced it to me, and that's what I fished the whole time. We use the number 2 for the smaller bait this time of year. And as we get bigger baits, we use a 2-aught and a 4-aught.
Well, now I think I'll see. Yeah, I like that 4-aught.
That'd take a little drag, isn't it?
He's a little bit more fiery. They're gonna pull your drag. And when you get them in that current, even a 4, 5, or 6 pound striper feels like a 25 pound fish. You know, they're just, that current really magnifies how much pressure they put on. The good part about fishing in the current, he don't have to be all that big to really be a puller. We used thread fin shad, we used some LYs, and we used gizzard shad.
That's a thread.
Yeah, and I like the LYs and the gizzard shad. They were a little bit more hardy, bigger, and I think you could catch bigger fish on it. But the live bait in that swift current would outperform artificial, no doubt about it. He's not any bigger, he's just more fiery.
Cookie cutters, look like they cut out of the same mold.
Cookie cutter, man, I like this. That's kind of like having a caddy. Take them off the hook for you.
Bait the hook.
Bait the hook. Man, is this Cadillacing? A striped bass. I'm gonna try to put him back a little easier. I didn't do too good at that either. Hey, don't go away. More Tennessee River striper fishing coming right back.
Looks like a different species.
He looks like a kitty cat to me.
Arkansas blue.
Arkansas blue. Rolling down the river.
This portion of Hank's Show is brought to you by Berkley. Catch more fish. Yeti coolers, built for the wild. And by Humminbird. This portion of Hank's Show is brought to you by Berkley. Catch more fish.
There, you got it fish on.
I've got a striped bass.
Well, I believe we're starting to figure it out a little bit. starting to get bit a little more often.
Well, it's a little different than what we started out doing, Bo. We saw fish up against the rocks. We started out throwing a little spinning rods with a little split shot rig, and now we're bouncing the bottom, which I would have never figured this out. How'd you figure this out?
Well, it was from actually, you know, the morning bite, we always start with the spinning rods. And then as the middle of the day went on, we just goofing around and started fishing the seams as the water started moving, and learned that the fish moved in there during the middle of the day and started feeding, and they get behind the rocks and to ambush the bait.
So
we do it like a Carolina rig. A lot of people does it with a three-way or something like that.
So we rigged this thing like a Carolina rig. You let it down.
And we figured it out in a count system. You're dropping it 15, which
Right.
is putting it around 38 feet.
I got you.
You gonna let him go a little easier
I
this time?
can. Let's go. I killed him. Just put him back in the ocean.
All righty.
Ooh, look at him down there schooling.
That's him skipjack. That's
I
the
see
river
that.
herring. Stripers eat them too. Sinker on the floor.
Sinker on the floor, not in the bucket.
Fish on.
I hooked one. I hooked a striped bass, I hope. He's pulling like a catfish, kinda.
Hank, I believe you're figuring it out. Bucky must give you some good advice.
Oh, Bucky, I've been watching him. Got to know how to read his eyes. I could see how he was getting that little bottom behind that rock. Buck was letting her down a little more. Uh-oh. Think I felt a rollover. It's pretty neat how people learn to do different things and different methods. And I have a lot of people say, you know, I really like to show when you bass fish. I'd really rather see artificial than I had live bait. I get it. I totally understand that. But isn't it pretty neat how people figure out? Bo, can you take the rest of the year off and go with me everywhere? I like a caddy. What it is a series of big rocks down through there. You take this Carolina rig, and it's about feel. Bucky is a lot better at it than I am, but I started to learn kind of what I'm looking for.
Don't believe that's a kitty cat.
These stripers are not out in that blasting current. They're in the eddy behind the rock. So the trick is to let that bait bounce over those rocks without hanging up. So you want to be just about that far above that rock. And when you get on the back side, then that bait's right there in that eddy where that striper's laying. Cool how they figured that out. Better job releasing him. Watch this. Watch this, Bucky. Watch him, Bucky. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I did it all by myself. Catch and release a gainer. Oh, it looks like a small catfish. Oh, it looks like a small brown catfish. Get out of my way, Bucky. I got me a bass. Woo! Hold on here. I got me a bass fish.
Can't take him nowhere.
Oh, Bucky, I wish you could catch one like that.
Hank's Show is made possible in part by Luz. Feel the difference. And by Minn Kota, TH Marine, Solar Bat, and Talon. This portion of Hank's Show is brought to you by Berkley. Catch more fish.
I love these little Berkley Power Swimmers. Come in a lot of different sizes, 3 different sizes that I have here. There he is. Deadly, deadly bait. And that was the only bait that I was able to catch them on artificially. And I just took that swimmer and would throw it up in those, what they call dog houses, in those holes, and swim that thing out in the holes in the dam where it was an eddy back in there, and you just swim that. And that was the only bait that was really effective. I think I caught one on the cane walker. All the other was on the Berkley Power Swimmer, and that is a very realistic looking bait. He's a wild striper. That was fun, a little Berkley power swimmer. Woo-ha! We have tried so hard to catch these fish on artificial. Yesterday was our first day, and Bucky had been trying to catch these fish downriver. These fish are so oriented to this super swift current, which surprises me. First experience for me. Bo, they're used to it. This is a massive amount of current, and these fish are right in that current. So most artificial baits don't look natural in this much current. This is the killer bait, man. I have killed them on this bait, and this was what I've in my mind thought before I came up here I was going to catch them on. And it didn't work out because the current's so swift and these fish are so oriented to the current. So the only thing that looks natural in all of that is live bait. So that's what we're faced with. And what we're really trying to do is catch about a 30-pound fish just to put icing on the cake. So it's been a lot of fun. Bo and I are just gonna kick around today, and we're gonna go look at some other stuff and do some other things, but it's really, when this current's just massive, it's hard to get artificial bait to look natural. There him is.
Show me your stripes.
We don't have Bucky, I don't have my first mate. It's not as much fun.
We put him to work. He's having the guide this morning.
He's having the guide.
Yeah, they pushed up in there.
Might be a little better fish. Might be a little better fish. It's hard to tell, I tell you, that current. They get in that current, turn sideways, man, it's a job. This is my Lew's inshore. It's just a killer. I'm embarrassed. I thought he was a lot bigger, I really did. He pulled my string.
Just shows you the fight they have.
They got it, man. Well, he ain't smaller. He's a little bigger. How about that? A little bigger.
Hank's Show is brought to you in part by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Mercury Marine, go boldly. And by Mossy Oak Fishing. More of Hank's Show coming up.
Old Bucky knew yesterday how tough this is and all this current, getting baits, tying on, doing all this stuff. So that first mate was awesome. Bucky's guiding this morning, we didn't have him. The way this current works, you really got to get that drift just right. And you got to be able to have that right little feel. And that bait, sometimes he's aggravating. He don't want to let you feel him.
And if you get all that together, it works out like a charm.
Got excited. He's a little bigger. Oh yeah, there's a lot of little ones in there. But if you were to do this in the month of March or April, you'd be catching some giants. He's a good one. A good one, Bo. I had my heart set on catching some big stripers in the Tennessee River on the old surge shad. but it didn't work. And that is when it's so cool to be able to fish with a guy like Bo. He hooked me up with Bucky Mott's first time I'd ever had a first mate in freshwater, so how cool was that? A different show. Man, I would have never dreamt those fish were in that just boiling, crazy current. And it took a lot of work and finesse, and I learned a lot, man. It was crazy for me. Ride the wild surf, buddy, it was wild. But one day I'm gonna catch them on this old surge shad. This thing is awesome. But you have to have the right conditions, and it was great to fish with Bo and Bucky, who had been there every day, knew exactly what was going on, taught me a lot. All that current was just crazy stuff, but it was a lot of fun, a lot different than what we normally do, and I hope you enjoyed it because I had a ball. So thanks for being with me, and hope you'll be back next week. God bless you. I'm Hank Parker.
And don't forget to visit us at hankparker.com, the place for tips, giveaways, and more.
The house needs painting, the grass needs mowing. Where's he at? Gone fishing.